Hello everyone, today we're tackling one of the most challenging conversations in Plato's Republic, the argument between Glaucon, Adeimantus, and Socrates about justice. Let's start with a key question. What exactly is injustice? Injustice is really about disproportionate outcomes. To commit injustice means to take more than your fair share, gaining a benefit at the expense of someone else. And every time injustice happens, someone suffers injustice. There is no such thing as a victimless injustice. For Bob to do injustice, Steve has to suffer injustice. There's always a winner and a loser in that equation. Hold on to that definition, we're going to need it. Now, Glaucon challenges Socrates with a bold claim. Justice is not good in itself. It's not something that we want for its own sake. Instead, it is a necessary evil, something that we agree to only because we're afraid of suffering injustice. You can think of it like physical therapy. No one likes to do physical therapy. We do it because we want to be pain-free, or to be able to walk again, and so on. The therapy is a necessary bit of suffering that lets us get what we want. Glaucon paints a dramatic case study. He says, imagine two people. First, the most unjust man. This person commits injustice freely and never gets caught. In fact, he's so clever that everyone thinks he's the most wonderful, virtuous person alive. Any crimes or harms that he causes, they never point back to him. Instead, he gains wealth, power, and reputation. Society loves him. He gets all the rewards that come from seeming just, without ever actually being just. Then, the most just man. This poor guy is the opposite. He is truly just. He acts morally at every opportunity, but he's never recognized for it. In fact, all the terrible things the unjust man does, they get blamed on him. Money goes missing, he is accused of stealing. A crime is committed, he is blamed. His reputation is ruined. People despise him, he loses his job, his friends, his standing in the community, and finally, Glaucon says, after all the suffering, the people have had enough, and they lynch him. They kill him, convinced that he is the worst of all people. Now, here's Glaucon's question. If Socrates is right, and justice is truly good in itself, then the most just man, who has been slandered, punished, tortured, and killed, must be better off than the most unjust man who gets everything and gets away with everything. Think about that. Is that really believable? How could someone so wronged be better off than someone who's winning at every other level? And that's the challenge that Glaucon throws at Socrates. He's forcing Socrates to explain how justice could be good for the person practicing it, even if all the material rewards go to injustice. And this isn't just some theoretical game, it's setting up a crucial question. Is morality something we do because it is good in itself, or is morality just an obstacle that we're trying to overcome? Let's step back and connect this to our earlier definition. If injustice is about disproportionate gain, taking more for yourself at someone else's expense, then justice is about respecting proportion, fairness, and balance. Now Glaucon says we only follow justice because we're afraid. If we could safely take more, we would. If we could get away with injustice, like the unjust man in his case study, we would do it. But Socrates pushes back. He argues that justice is good in itself. He argues that justice is good for the soul. It's good for the person you are becoming, not just for the material reward you get right now. Justice brings inner harmony, balance, and health of the soul, things deeper than wealth, reputation, or social approval. Now, it takes Socrates the rest of the book to make his point, but that's not our focus. Here's a question for you. If you could get everything you wanted by doing injustice, and no one would ever catch you, would you take it? Glaucon thinks that many people would say yes, but Socrates is challenging us to ask, what kind of a person would you become? Even if no one sees, even if no punishment comes in your life, would injustice damage you on the inside? And this connects us to a bigger theme. Glaucon's argument is a materialistic position. It is about maximizing external rewards. Socrates offers an immaterial position. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, aiming at the good life in a deeper sense. Now, if morality is just a tool, a necessary evil, then rationality tells us to follow it only until we can safely abandon it. But if morality is good in itself and good for us, then we should follow it even at a cost, because it is helping us reach our highest moral value, our guiding star. This debate sets the stage for our next reading, where we will explore altruism and whether true selflessness is even possible under these frameworks. For now, I would like you to reflect. Would you rather be the unjust man who succeeds, or the just man who suffers? And what does your answer say about what it is that you value? That is the question that Plato's Republic asks, and it's a question we'll keep exploring together. One final bit to note. The most unjust man has a highest moral value that is limited to material success. That is, the most unjust man is only interested in the sorts of goods that he can get here and now. But Socrates argues that the most just man isn't concerned with that. Instead, he is concerned about fulfilling his purpose as a human being, which brings a different kind of reward that has nothing to do with stuff. And so, seeing how two different highest moral values are structured and how they affect the rest of the value hierarchy, you should begin to see why it's important to understand the reasons why people do things, not merely the values that they happen to have.